If you've ever woken up with your knees creaking like rusty hinges or felt like every step is some kind of divine punishment, let me tell you something. It's not just age. We've been sold the idea that bone and joint wear and tear is inevitable, like a one-way ticket to stiffness and pain. But what few people tell you is that more often than not, we're the ones unknowingly speeding up the process. I'm Gabriel, and today I'm going to show you how certain foods that seem harmless are actually undermining your bone strength and stealing your mobility with every bite. No, it's not magic or fate's cruel joke. It's pure biology and bad decisions piling up. But we're not here to feel sorry for ourselves. We're here to take back control. So stick with me, because over the next few minutes, you'll discover the 7 silent enemies that may be destroying your bone health without you even noticing. And more importantly, you'll learn how to reverse the damage and strengthen your body to keep living with energy, independence, and, why not, a little revenge against time. Number 1. Sugar, the hidden enemy that devours your strength. They say sugar sweetens life, but in the long run, all it leaves behind is a weakened body and joints creaking like an old, ungreased door. If you've ever felt stiffer when you wake up or noticed your bones seem to be losing strength over time, don't just blame age. There's a silent enemy you've been inviting to your table for years, believing it's harmless until it's not. Sugar isn't just about weight or energy, it's a structural destroyer. Every time you consume sugary foods, a process of inflammation is triggered in your body that directly attacks the essential proteins in your bones and cartilage. Advanced glycation, a process where sugars attached to collagen and elastin fibers, literally stiffens and weakens your joints, making them more prone to damage. The worst part is that this doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, silently, until one day you realize moving isn't as easy as it used to be. Science has been clear about this. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that a diet high in refined sugars contributes to bone density loss and increased systemic inflammation. This means you're not only weakening your bones, but you're also accelerating the onset of arthritis and other joint problems that end up robbing you of your independence. And if losing mobility doesn't concern you now, I promise it will when you find that basic activities like walking without pain or getting up from a chair effortlessly become a real challenge. The Stoics used to say that suffering comes from what we can control but choose to ignore. Epictetus taught that the key to a fulfilling life is distinguishing between what depends on us and what doesn't. Well, bone and joint deterioration is not a punishment from fate or an inevitable consequence of time passing. It's largely the result of our daily choices. And although nobody likes to hear it, every cookie, every soda, every extra spoonful of sugar in your coffee is another step toward fragility. But we're not here to feel sorry for ourselves, we're here to take control. The good news is that the damage isn't irreversible. Reducing sugar from your diet can improve tissue elasticity, reduce inflammation, and restore some of the agility to your joints you thought was lost. It's an act of respect toward your body and the life you still have left to enjoy. Now, if you think sugar is the only thing undermining your strength, wait until you discover what's next. Because there's another enemy disguised as everyday food that's sabotaging your bone resilience without you even noticing. Number 2. Refined flour, the poison disguised as bread. Imagine a Roman soldier in the heat of battle. He's spent years training his body, strengthening every muscle, every bone, preparing himself for combat. But on the battlefield, something feels off. His movements are slower, his reflexes clumsy, his stamina almost gone. He hasn't been wounded, but something inside him is sabotaging him. His daily rations consist of white bread, a food that in his time was reserved for the upper classes, but eventually became an easy, accessible option to feed the troops. What they didn't know was that this bread, stripped of its fiber and nutrients, only provided fleeting energy, followed by exhaustion that left them more vulnerable. Centuries later, history repeats itself, but this time at our tables. Refined flour has become the cornerstone of modern diets: white bread, cookies, pasta, pastries. These are foods that we've been led to believe nourish us, when in reality, all they do is spike our blood sugar and cause constant inflammation throughout the body. And here's the problem. This inflammation doesn't just affect your digestive system or your weight. It directly attacks the integrity of your bones and joints. Science has proven that diets high in refined flours reduce the absorption of calcium and magnesium, essential minerals for maintaining bone density. A study from Harvard University found that people with high consumption of refined carbohydrates are more prone to osteoporosis and premature joint weakening. This happens because these foods cause insulin spikes, a hormone that in excess contributes to bone loss and accelerates cartilage degradation. In other words, every bite of white bread not only feeds your hunger, but also fuels your internal decay. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The same is true of the body. It is shaped by what we give it. If we feed it lifeless foods, it becomes fragile. If we nourish it with what it truly needs, it grows stronger. But here's the trap. Refined flours are addictive. Not just because they taste good, but because we've been conditioned to depend on them. When you cut them out, many people feel a sort of emptiness, as if something essential is missing from their diet. But that feeling is merely the signal that your body is breaking free from a harmful dependency. The Roman soldier in our story probably never understood why he felt so weak before battle. Today, however, we have the knowledge to recognize the enemy before it causes harm. True strength doesn't come from bread that fills, but from foods that truly nourish. And if you think white bread is harmless, wait until you discover what a simple drink can do to your bones. Number 3, sodas and carbonated drinks, the acid that destroys from within. I want you to try a simple experiment. Take a glass of any soda and drop a small piece of eggshell into it. Let it sit overnight. The next morning, take a look at what's happened. The shell, which was once hard and sturdy, is now soft, corroded, even disintegrated in some parts. What you're seeing isn't magic, it's science. The phosphoric acid present in sodas is strong enough to wear away the calcium in an eggshell, just as it gradually weakens your bones and joints over time. Now think about this. If that acid has such an impact in a simple home experiment, what do you think it's doing inside your body after years of consumption? It doesn't matter if you only have a glass once in a while. The accumulation of these substances gradually erodes your bone density silently, affecting your posture, your resilience, and your ability to move without pain. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that people who consume sodas regularly have significantly lower bone mineral density than those who avoid them. This is because the high levels of phosphorus in these drinks disrupt the balance of calcium in the body, robbing it from where you need it most: your bones. The Stoics spoke of discipline as the key to a fulfilling life. Epictetus reminded us that we are masters of our actions, but slaves to our habits. And this is where this experiment goes deeper. You might think, but I only drink soda on weekends, or one glass a day can't be that harmful. That's the trap of bad habits, disguising themselves as harmless little indulgences. But the reality is that every sip is a decision, and every decision has a consequence. Here's a second experiment I suggest. one that will test your discipline and help you feel the difference in your own body. For 1 week, stop consuming sodas and replace them with lemon water or natural infusions. Observe how your body responds. At first, it may feel like a sacrifice, but as the days go by, you'll notice that the inflammation in your joints decreases, your muscles feel more relaxed, and you even sleep better. You don't need a doctor to tell you this, you'll feel it yourself. If you found this micro-experiment interesting, just imagine everything else that's waiting to be discovered in this video. And since you're here, I have a question for you. Where are you joining us from? I love reading the comments and getting to know those of you who are on this journey of growth and health. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss more content like this. Every tip can make a difference in your well-being, and here we're building a community dedicated to that purpose. Strength isn't just a matter of genetics or luck, it's the result of the small choices we make every day. And if a simple drink has the power to weaken your body, imagine what you could achieve by choosing the opposite, giving your body what it truly needs to stay strong, flexible, and pain-free. Number 4, processed vegetable oils, lubricants, that oxidize your joints. Imagine you have a metal hinge on your front door. To work properly, it needs the right lubricant, something that keeps it flexible and prevents rust from destroying it. Now, imagine that instead of using high-quality oil, you decide to apply a cheap, corrosive liquid that, while it seems to work at first, gradually builds up sticky residues that make it stiff and fragile. The same thing happens to your joints when you consume processed vegetable oils. For decades, we were led to believe that soybean, sunflower, and canola oils were healthy options, promoted as heart-friendly with green labels and deceptively natural-sounding names. But what nobody told us is that these oils are highly inflammatory, disrupt the balance of fats in our bodies, and over time degrade the quality of collagen in our cartilage, accelerating joint wear. A study published in the journal Nature revealed that vegetable oils rich in omega-6, when consumed excessively and without a proper balance of omega-3, cause chronic inflammation and connective tissue damage. In other words, what appears to lubricate your body is actually oxidizing it from within. Try this exercise right now. Open your pantry and check the labels of the products you consume daily. You'll notice that most of them contain soybean, sunflower, or canola oil, even those you wouldn't consider fatty, like cookies, sauces, and dressings. How do you think being exposed to these substances in nearly all your meals affects your bones and joints? The Stoics taught that our strength depends on how we cultivate our habits and eliminate what weakens us. Epictetus said, "Nothing great is achieved suddenly, but through small, consistent efforts." Applied to your diet, this means you don't need to transform your eating habits overnight, but you do need to start making better choices. A simple yet powerful change is to replace refined oils with more stable and natural options, such as extra virgin olive oil or cold-pressed coconut oil. These fats not only nourish your joints, but also combat inflammation throughout your body. The problem was never fat itself, but the type of fat you consume. And now that you know this, you have the chance to choose whether to keep stiffening your joints with oxidized oils or start nourishing them with what truly keeps them flexible and strong. Because at the end of the day, every choice you make in the kitchen is shaping your future body and your ability to move freely. Number 5. Excess salt, a lethal blow to your bones. Think of a rock battered by the sea. Over the years, the waves erode it, wearing down its structure until, one day, it breaks. In the same way, excess salt gradually weakens your bones, drawing calcium from where you need it most without you even noticing. The difference is that the sea works overtime on the rock, while you decide every day how much damage you will allow in your own body. The problem isn't salt itself. It's an essential mineral, a natural regulator of fluids in your body, and a key tool for transmitting nerve signals. However, the amount we consume in the modern diet is far from natural. At some point, the industry turned salt into an invisible drug, adding it not only to obvious foods, but to almost every processed product. Bread, cured meats, sauces, canned foods, even dairy. And this is where the real danger lies. A study published in the journal Osteoporosis International revealed that excessive sodium intake accelerates calcium loss through urine, reducing bone density and increasing the risk of fractures. Simply put, the more salt you consume, the more calcium you lose. The irony is that many people, once they reach a certain age, worry about taking calcium supplements without realizing they're consuming something that expels it from their body at the same time. Hippocrates said, "Let food be your medicine, and medicine be your food." And yet, we have turned food into a disguised enemy, ignoring what truly benefits our body. The worst part is that salt also fuels inflammation, hardening arteries, and affecting tissue flexibility, which worsens joint wear. It's no coincidence that people with high blood pressure often suffer from bone and muscle issues. Both are connected by the same excess of sodium. Try this test. For one day, check how many of the foods you eat contain added salt. Not just the obvious ones, but those you never even thought about. When you become aware of how many times a day you're consuming more sodium than your body really needs, you'll see that it's not aging that weakens your bones, but rather a buildup of everyday choices. The Stoics taught that discipline is the key to freedom. Seneca said that whoever submits to their impulses is a slave to them, and here, salt is a clear example. We have grown used to relying on its flavor, feeling that food without it is tasteless. But that perception is not real. It's a programming that can be retrained. If you gradually reduce the amount of salt you consume, within a few weeks, you'll notice your palate adjusting, natural flavors re-emerging, and in the end, you don't need it as much as you once thought. It's not about eliminating salt entirely, but about using it wisely. Don't let something so small have such a big impact on your health. Every bite is a decision, and every decision shapes the strength with which you will live the years ahead. Number 6. Processed meats, the deadly disguise of flavor. Imagine you have two pieces of meat in front of you. One is a fresh steak, free of additives, with its natural color and texture. The other is an industrial sausage, the kind that stays intact for months in the refrigerator with a uniform color and artificially appealing aroma. If you leave them out in the open for a few days, the fresh steak will decompose, while the sausage will look almost the same. Why? Because it's packed with preservatives, sodium, and nitrites designed to give it an appearance of freshness, when in reality, it's closer to being a chemical product than real food. Now think about what happens inside your body when you consume these products. You're not just eating meat, you're ingesting a mix of substances that inflame your joints, overburden your liver, and damage the balance of essential minerals for your bones. A study published in the journal BMC Medicine found that people who regularly consume processed meats, such as sausages, ham, and bacon, have a higher risk of osteoporosis and joint diseases. This is because these products contain added phosphates, compounds that interfere with proper calcium absorption, slowly demineralizing your bones. The problem is that many people believe they're eating protein when they're actually consuming a cocktail of inflammation. The World Health Organization has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there is sufficient evidence that they contribute to the development of chronic diseases. And if they affect the whole body, how could they not impact the quality of your bones and joints? The ancient philosophers understood that not everything that seems valuable truly is. Aristotle said that virtue is not found in what immediately pleases us, but in what builds our well-being in the long run. The instant pleasure of smoked ham or a sausage on the grill does not outweigh the cumulative damage they cause to your bone health. True strength comes from choosing what nourishes you, even if it feels like a sacrifice at first. But this isn't about living in restriction or turning food into punishment. It's about returning to simplicity, to what the body truly recognizes as nourishment. If you want to take care of your bones, choose cleaner sources of protein, fresh meats, high-quality eggs, omega-3 rich fish. And if you ever eat processed meat, let it be by conscious choice, not out of habit or convenience. Every time you choose what to put on your plate, you also choose the quality of your future. The question isn't whether you can keep eating these products without noticing changes today, but how you will feel 5 or 10 years from now if you keep accumulating small doses of silent damage. Health isn't built through massive sacrifices, but through daily decisions filled with intention. Number 7. Alcohol, the saboteur of your bone regeneration. The human body has an extraordinary ability to regenerate itself. Every day, your bones are in constant renewal, like a bridge that strengthens and rebuilds itself while still in use. But this process, which should keep you strong and moving until the end of your days, has a silent enemy: alcohol. Not in excess, not in large amounts, but in the daily dose disguised as habit, in the "one drink won't hurt" phrase repeated so naturally that no one stops to question it. The problem isn't just what alcohol does in the moment, but what it prevents your body from doing on its own. Bone regeneration relies on a precise balance of minerals and hormones, especially vitamin D and calcium, which work together to maintain bone density and strength. Alcohol interferes with this mechanism, blocking calcium absorption and affecting the production of osteoblasts, the cells responsible for repairing and strengthening bone tissue. Over time, this constant sabotage leaves your bones weaker and your joints stiffer, eroding the foundation of your mobility without you noticing until it's too late. A study published in Alcohol and Alcoholism revealed that even moderate alcohol consumption reduces bone mineral density and increases the risk of fractures in older adults. It's not just about the liver or the brain, as commonly believed, but about the structure that supports your body, the very thing that allows you to walk with confidence, maintain balance, and avoid falls that could change everything in an instant. The Stoics spoke of the importance of clarity and self-control. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Alcohol, beyond its physical effects, is a psychological trap. It gives you a momentary sense of relaxation, but gradually takes away what you need most. We are sold the image of wine as a symbol of enjoyment, of liquor as a social ritual, when in reality it is often a way to avoid facing what we don't want to confront. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a concept called mindfulness, the ability to live with full awareness of each action and its consequences. If we apply this teaching to alcohol, the question is not, "Can I keep drinking it?" but rather, "What is it truly costing me?" This isn't about prohibitions or moralism, it's about making conscious choices. Is it worth losing the ability to move freely for a habit you could replace without much loss? Balance doesn't mean giving up everything, but rather being wise enough to decide what strengthens you and what weakens you. And here is where everyone must ask themselves their own question. Are you making choices that prolong your vitality or ones that wear it down little by little? There is no right answer, only an undeniable reality. What you choose today will determine how you live the rest of your years. We've reached the end of this journey, and if you're still here, it means you truly value your well-being and understand that health is not just a matter of luck, but of conscious choices. Every habit, every food, and every decision you make today is building the body you'll live with tomorrow. This isn't about fear or restrictions. It's about understanding that the power is in your hands and that it's never too late to strengthen what truly matters: your vitality, your independence, and your ability to move freely. I want to acknowledge those who have made it this far because it shows commitment and a desire to improve. To see who the true guardians of their health are, leave me a comment with the phrase, "I am a Stoic," and tell me where you're watching from. I love reading your messages and seeing how this community grows with people striving to live better every day. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs it. Sometimes, a small change in how we eat or how we understand our body can make the difference between a limited life and one full of energy and movement. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep choosing what makes you stronger.